Welcome to Life Exchange Club. Dominating CEO of a $100 billion group. Lavishly spending $100 billion in assets. Beautiful secretary at your beck and call. The emperor of the underground world that commands respect and deference from all high officials and dignitaries. A figure whose mere step can shake the world. A superstar who attracts the attention of thousands, reveling in the adoration of countless fans. Able to switch between various identities at will. You sneaky one, immediately decided to challenge your weak spot. Chose to be a billionaire CEO to enjoy wealth, and the sense of oppression brought by a beautiful secretary. You are a poor average man in your third year of college. One day, your roommate gave you a WhatsApp number and told you that the person is very good looking, and as long as you are handsome enough, you can ask her out. You immediately responded, "I'm so poor, all I have left is this handsome face." Without hesitation, you added her on WhatsApp and saw that she had accepted your friend request. You directly sent a message saying, "I heard you are very flirty." Quickly, the other person replied, "Waiting for me in class." "Who are you? What is your name?" "I'm Joe Young." "And you?" "Cherry Roy." Cherry Roy, you were immediately confused. How could this be the same name as your counselor's? You immediately cursed. "These three sons of the asterisk cheese are conspiring against me." "Joe Young, right? Come to my office, and I'll show you how amazing I am." Cherry Roy's tone remained calm, but conveyed a bone-chilling coldness and raging fury. You fell silent immediately. "What should I do this afternoon?" Just then, a voice sounded. "Are you tired of your current life? Do you want to experience a different life?" Then, an invitation appeared out of thin air. It read, "Exchange Life Club invitation card. Would you like to join now?" You chose to join immediately. After all, who wouldn't want a free cheating method? Later, you were immediately transported to a strange place. You found yourself in a beautifully decorated hall where there were all sorts of people, and even animals. You widened your eyes and muttered to yourself, wondering if you were dreaming. Mr. Joe, you are not dreaming. From the moment you opened the invitation, you became a lifetime member of this club. Here, you can exchange lives with anyone, even animals. A soft, sweet voice rang out. You followed the sound and saw a woman with white short hair and delicate features, wearing blue denim shorts, revealing a pair of long snow-white legs, walking towards you. The woman with short hair pursed her lips and smiled, saying, "My name is Sue, and I am the manager of this club." You asked excitedly, "Manager Sue, can we really exchange lives here?" "Of course, Mr. Joe. Have you seen those people and animals? They are also members of the club. As long as you want, you can see their basic information anytime." You unconsciously tried to look at a middle-aged person. The moment you thought about it, their basic information such as name, gender, and identity appeared in your mind. You can view the identity of everyone. If you are interested in a particular identity, you can directly approach them to communicate. You can ask about the conditions for exchanging identities. The duration and terms of the exchange are determined by mutual agreement between both parties. The freedom is very high. If I have a girlfriend, exchanging lives with someone else would be equivalent to them. NTRING. Me. After the exchange, wouldn't both parties have no more secrets to keep? You, who don't even have a girlfriend, asking such questions is shameless. Don't forget to add that prevention is better than cure. You can rest assured. All of these can be agreed upon and restricted by signing a contract before the exchange. After signing, a binding agreement will be formed that cannot be violated by anyone. When you hear this, you can rest assured. After all, this club is so powerful. This aspect can definitely be controlled, but you still have self-awareness. Knowing that you are penniless, perhaps no one will exchange things with you. At this moment, you accidentally slipped, revealing your own information publicly. At this moment, countless members immediately surrounded. "Brother Joe, I am a second-generation rich. Brother Joe, I am the world champion. Please exchange with me. I am an international superstar." You were directly confused by it, and you turned your head. Feeling that something is not right, you immediately chose to retreat. In the end, you chose a wealthy entrepreneur in his 30s, who started from scratch and earned billions in assets. The entrepreneur's name is Hank Roy, 32 years old, and chairman of Joy Hank Group. Just like you, he is from Binhai City, and was recognized last year as one of the top 10 young entrepreneurs in the country, making him very famous in Binhai City. Upon hearing this, you immediately thought that he would definitely be enough for me to show off a bit. You curiously asked Mr. Roy with a doubt. I am just an ordinary person. Why are you all eager to exchange with me? The most popular types of people here are two, those who are very capable and those who are ordinary like you. Hank Roy gave a slight smile and said, Mr. Joe, you as an ordinary person. The life problems you usually encounter are very simple. We can easily solve them and make your life more brilliant. You fell silent at that moment, thinking that the reason why you are popular is surprisingly because you consider yourself worthless. Solve the life problems of the other party. At the end of the exchange, you will receive life points. Life points are very important. With enough points, you can shop at the club's points mall. Exchange everything you want, otherwise you think I'm so young. I started from scratch and earned billions of assets because I am a cheat code player. You immediately think of everything you want. You widened your eyes and thought that if it's so amazing, then wouldn't you skyrocket directly? But you sneaky one just want to experience the joy of being rich. Challenging your own weaknesses, you don't actually want to take responsibility. You directly raised a key question. If I can't solve the other person's life problems, can't I make their life more brilliant? Hank Roy knows what you are worried about, and just smile calmly. It's okay. It's just that at the end of the exchange, you can't earn life points. You breathe a sigh of relief. It doesn't matter about life points and so on. You just want to challenge your own weak spot. Later you entered the exchange room with witnesses from the staff. You signed the exchange agreement, which clearly stated the current life difficulties encountered by both parties, as well as the people and events that cannot be changed after the exchange, and hidden memories that one does not want the other to know about, etc. The exchange period is 1 week, and after signing, the agreement will be kept by the staff. Hank Roy has many life difficulties. But you didn't look closely, after all, you can't solve them, and you didn't want to solve them either. Hank Roy couldn't help but burst into laughter after seeing your life difficulties. At that moment you were stunned, and you asked Mr. Roy directly, What's wrong with you? Hank Roy smiled and said, Cherry Roy is my younger sister. I know her very well. So, this difficult question for me is just like a bonus question. You were directly stunned. This is such a damn coincidence. Coincidence to the extreme. At this moment, a club staff member in a slender light green cheongsam with a graceful figure. With a smile at the corners of her mouth, she said, Please close your eyes, both of you. When you open your eyes again, you see a woman dressed provocatively, with a beautiful face, lying in front of you. The key is that you haven't put on your clothes yet, and the zipper is still open. It really got you excited at that time. This damn start is too cool, isn't it? Just yesterday, you became a lifetime member of the Life Club. Afterwards, countless people want to exchange life experiences with you. There is a domineering billionaire CEO. There is an underground emperor. There are top-tier beautiful female celebrities, as well as internet celebrities. Everything is available. You immediately chose a domineering CEO with a net worth of tens of billions, insistently claiming it is to experience the happiness of wealthy people. But you can't keep your hands off the beautiful secretary. The domineering CEO can't believe that you, a sneaky one, would make a move on someone else's secretary. You just swapped bodies with the domineering CEO Hank Roy, who has assets worth billions. When you opened your eyes, you saw a curvaceous woman with disheveled clothes supporting your thigh. The key point is that you haven't put on your clothes yet, and the zipper is still open. Your perennially single face turned bright red because of that. At this time, all memories of Hank Roy appeared in your mind. This woman is Snowy Sue, 24 years old, and is Hank Roy's secretary. She has tried to seduce Hank Roy several times, but Hank Roy is not interested at all. You immediately thought about what an ambitious woman she is, but Hank Roy unexpectedly did not cultivate her diligently. At this moment, Snowy-Tsu said coquettishly, "I saw you were all cold at the time, so I wanted to warm you up with my body temperature. You shameless person." Upon hearing this, Snowy-Tsu immediately understood and said, "Then you may continue." Snowy-Tsu was stunned by your response and immediately retorted, "Then I won't be polite either." At this moment, your heart is filled with excitement. Suddenly, there was a hurried knocking on the door from outside. It made you and Snowy-Tsu even more intimate. Even Snowy-Tsu's mouth didn't have time to wipe it. At this time, a very quiet-looking woman in uniform. She pushed open the door and handed over documents, saying, "Director Roy, the shareholders' meeting is about to start. Here is the information you asked for." When she saw the scene in front of her, her face turned red. "I'm sorry, Director Roy. I just saw that you haven't gone to the meeting, so I came in a hurry." You awkwardly explained, "She was just helping me clean up. Isn't that reasonable?" Snowy-Tsu blushed and hurriedly put on her clothes. She said, "Yes, I was just helping Director Roy tidy up." The assistant quickly understood at that time. Yes, it is very reasonable, too reasonable. The information is here. I'm leaving first. The assistant just left and you're not being honest. Let's continue another day. We have important matters to attend to next. You immediately recall that Hank Roy made a significant mistake at work some time ago, causing serious losses to the company. Then, a board member proposed to convene a board meeting to remove him from his position as chairman for this reason. You feel a bit tricky because you have no relevant experience at all. You immediately thought that if Hank Roy doesn't care, why should you? Just have fun and do what makes you happy. After all, this is not your body. If something goes wrong, it will be Hank Roy who takes the blame. As long as you have no concerns, you are invincible. Then you laughed and walked out, holding a cup of coffee, squinting with enjoyment on your face. Humming a tune rhythmically, you twisted your way into the meeting room. La 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 la. The directors in the meeting room looked puzzled, exchanging blank stares as they watched this scene in astonishment. Hank Roy couldn't possibly know that his position as chairman is going to be revoked today. He must be going crazy. "Mr. Roy, the board of directors asks you to be more serious," said the middle-aged man in a deep voice. "You understand right away that it was this person who initiated the shareholders' meeting. He wants to force Hank Roy to step down. Anyway, it's not your own life. What are you afraid of? Just go ahead and insult him directly." "I don't care. What can you do? Come and bite me." Hal Min's mouth twitched, and he directly reprimanded Hank Roy, "You are simply rude." "I can't help it. I am a coarse person, so of course I am coarse. Even if you are too meticulous, you shouldn't get angry, right?" Arguing with Hal Min won't achieve anything. Hal Min has decided not to argue with you, and will directly question you. You have caused significant losses to the company. I believe you are not suitable to continue serving as the chairman of Joy Hank Group. Joy Hank Group is built by me single-handedly, and has been helping everyone make money. Now that there is a small issue, you are kicking me when I'm down. Isn't that a bit too much, Boss Hal? Hal Min is so angry that he can't even say a word. I'm too lazy to engage in this meaningless debate with you. I propose to remove Hank Roy from the position of chairman of Joy Hank Group. All in favor, please vote. Half of the people then raised their hands one after another. The rest, seeing the situation, hesitated and also raised their hands. "Hank, you should quickly sit in that seat for a while, or you won't be able to sit there later." You smiled, glanced around at everyone and said, "Would you all reconsider? Let me put it this way, if I weren't the chairman, I would sell my shares and go enjoy life. I believe many companies would be interested in that." At this time, a sensible older person said, "Director Roy, don't go too far with this." The young person immediately agreed, saying, "Yes, Joy Hank Group is thriving. This is your hard work, you can't sell it. How Min is simply making a fuss. Joy Hank Group was founded single-handedly by Director Roy. I support Director Roy. The directors all put down their hands. The tide instantly turned to support Hank Roy and criticize Hao Min. You showed a relieved smile, which is the right thing to do. As a company's director, you can't just betray for a little bit of interest. Although you don't understand the struggle for power and profit, you have no shame. Hank Roy, you are simply shameless. What's the difference between you and a rogue? Hao Min is so angry that his nose is crooked. Hao Min really didn't expect Hank Roy, a refined gentleman, to use such underhanded means. You can respond directly saying, "That's just who I am." You sneaky one, came straight out with a killer line. Due to Hao, the vice chairman, being seriously ill and under immense pressure, he has been officially relieved of his duties. Let him, who has dedicated half of his life to working for the company, go home and rest. Director Roy is truly considerate and truly considers the elders of the company. I strongly support this very humanized decision. I also support Director Hao. He should take a good rest. Hao Min watches his comrades betray one after another, feeling so angry that his body trembles. You traitors! Hank Roy, you shameless person. I am not sick, you are the one who is sick. Director Hal's condition has relapsed, and the security guard is taking Director Hal out to rest. Hao Min directly shouted angrily at Hank Roy. Let's wait and see. This matter is not over. At this moment, you still don't forget to start the sarcasm. Director Hal is about to leave us. He has worked diligently. He has done so much for us. Let's thank him together. Everyone together said, Director Hal, have a safe journey. Rest assured, Director Hal, we will always view you as a role model. Director Hal, please take care of yourself. Hao Min, who had just been dragged out of the meeting room, heard these words and spat out a mouthful of blood in anger. With a smug expression on your face, you continue to mock. Look how Director Hal has worked tirelessly for the company. Even when spitting blood, he claims he is not ill. It's so touching. At this point, everyone is also quite scared by your actions. Snowy Sue, please help me cancel all the itineraries for these few days. Also, please quickly investigate the background of Chun Ho Trading Company. Okay, Director Roy. You touched Snowy Sue's face and said, Snowy Sue is so well behaved. Making Snowy Sue's face blush even more is more tempting. Director Roy, please don't do this. It's not good if others see. You replied straightforwardly. Then let's find a place with no one next time. Let's have a heart-to-heart conversation in a simple and easy way. Then you let Snowy Sue go back first since you still have a lot of limelight to steal. You watch Snowy Sue walk away. Just from your expression, one can tell what you are thinking. Then you drive a red sports car through the crowd, causing a sensation. That feeling is called awesome. You and the billionaire CEO Hank Roy switched bodies. You acted as if you were not human. The first thing you did was have a deep conversation with Hank Roy's secretary about life. The best hotel, the best dishes, arrange it directly. It's best not to miss out on anything, whether it's luxurious or intimate. Tips are casually given. Each person gets 20,000 yuan. What surprised Hank Roy the most is that you are so shameless. You sneaky one actually used Hank Roy's body to pretend to be someone else. Driving a supercar to show off in the crowd feels so cool. Then they arrived at the best hotel in Binhai City. It is said that everything inside is great. The only downside is that it's expensive. No, expensive is not a flaw of the hotel. It's a flaw of you, this poor person. You have long dreamed of going in. Indulging in eating and drinking is now within reach today. You immediately decide to have the most expensive and tender abalone. You coolly got out of the car and skillfully tossed the car keys to the doorman. A set of actions that flowed very smoothly, this time being pretentious was successful. You immediately thought of how great it would feel to be rich. You excitedly walked into the hotel entrance. Welcome to Binhai City International Hotel. Is Boss Chen still the same as before? The beautiful female manager in black stockings greeted you. She had a perfectly charming smile on her face and a sweet voice. You skillfully said, "No need, today I will order by myself." "Bro, what are you doing here?" You followed the sound back and saw the glamorous figure with long hair, Cherry Roy, with a cold and elegant expression, as well as yourself next to her. Sure enough, standing beside Cherry Roy is you yourself. The soul inside is Hank Roy. "Bro, what are you doing here?" You were stunned and embarrassed at the time and replied awkwardly, "Cherry, I came to eat. Who is this person next to you?" "Hello, I am Teacher Cherry's student. My name is Joe Young." Cherry Roy became even more curious when he saw Joe Young. Such a composed demeanor at a young age. His temperament surpasses even his older brother. How did I not notice this before? Moreover, this guy shares so much in common with me. It's too coincidental to share the same hobbies. In front of him, I can't be aloof at all. It feels very close, with endless words to say. Of course, she doesn't know that Joe Young understands her so well because they are siblings. So, in Cherry Roy's eyes, this is what they call destiny. It makes her heart flutter. Otherwise, the cold and aloof her would never agree to Joe Young inviting her to dinner. Joe Young shook hands with Hank Roy and said, "Hello, I'm Cherry's brother, Hank Roy. This girl has been indulged by me since she was young. She has a bad temper and lacks understanding of human relationships. She changes her face faster than the weather. Please bear with her more." Your words contain a hint of personal grudges. Hank Roy was confused by your actions at that time. Cherry Roy's pretty face darkened at her brother's comment about his own sister. Teacher Cherry is very kind and gentle, understanding and reasonable, Hank Roy said with sincerity. He shook hands with extra pressure. In his heart he thought, the brat dares to speak ill of my sister in front of me. Trying to tarnish my sister's reputation using my body, seeking revenge privately, huh? You retract your hand and calmly spout nonsense. I came here for a meal. It's getting late, I'll go up first. You can't bully people, little sister. Of course, you cannot stay here any longer. Because you haven't indulged in food and drink yet, that's the purpose of today. You have ordered a table full of dishes. Abalone, bird's nest, fish maw, and all kinds of rare delicacies from the mountains and the sea. Everything is there, a proper display of a nouveau riche appearance. You immediately said, bring 2 people to drink with me. The remaining 2, dance for me, and I will give each of you 20,000. 2 people sit on both sides of you, one helping you pour wine. The other one gives you a massage. It's so enjoyable when you have money. The other 2 people, with smiles on their faces, start dancing. Their enchanting figures twist and turn, occasionally sending flirtatious glances. You catch the slender waists of the 2 people smoothly and can't help but think how fucking amazing this is. That's what life is about. Were the days you used to live even considered life? It's a shame that the 3 bad roommates in the dormitory and those classmates from school can't see this. At this moment, one of the women held onto your arm, coquettishly saying she wanted to lean on Roy Director like this with such concentration. You shameless old man, just straight to the point. Give me a laugh to liven up the mood. The woman said with a professional expression. Is playing the flute appropriate here? You came in all serious and said that. Yeah, go get a flute and play a tune to liven things up. At this moment, the faces of several ladies are pitifully shy. I thought there was another opportunity to earn some extra money. Unfortunately, I wanted to taste what it would be like to be a wealthy tycoon. You thought that you now have the face of Hank Roy. It is useless to be pretentious without experiencing it in your body. Your eyes suddenly lit up. You came up with a shameless idea. It's not like you're losing face, so why be afraid? Just do it. At 3:30 p.m. this afternoon at Binhai City University, Class 3 of the Finance Department was having a physical education class. This is the class you're in. Hank Roy was standing in the class lineup. Reliving the campus life again made him quite sentimental. WTF. Everyone subconsciously turned to look in that direction. A Rolls-Royce Phantom slowly drove by. Seeing the license plate, Hank Roy, he was stunned. This is his damn car. Seeing the person getting out of the car, Lao Kong also widened his eyes instantly. OMG Hank Roy. Hank Roy, who started Joy Hank Group from scratch, is definitely a legend. And he is much richer than his family. Hank Roy is coming towards us. What is Hank Roy doing at our school? He doesn't seem as charismatic in person as he does in the news. The real Hank Roy's mouth twitched. Watching Joe Young approach, he had a sense of impending doom. You walked up to Hank Roy and bowed amidst everyone's shocked expressions. Young master, I have finally found you. I can no longer hold the company together. Please come back with me quickly to take charge. At this moment, 1,000 FXXK thoughts surged through Hank Roy's mind. I have never seen such shameless behavior. Using my body to pretend to be you. Others have long been dumbfounded. WTF? Joe Young is actually a hidden big shot. The Joy Hank Group is actually his. Hank Roy is just a front boss. This is too amazing. You act poor, one can act poor, but why the hell are you still competing with me for last year's subsidies for impoverished students? Lao Kong was also dumbfounded. The clown turned out to be myself. You sneaky one, you hit it too well. Brother, don't forget your roots even if you become rich. What brother? Do you have any shame? Don't randomly claim relatives. I was speechless when he was being so pretentious, Hank Roy. Seeing this scene, you must have felt the pleasure in your bones. Chilled to the core, heart-soaring, just one word, pleasurable. How can this move not be seen as pretentious? It's all about showing off, isn't it? In the building far away, Cherry Roy happened to see the scene. A hint of doubt flickered in her beautiful eyes. What secret does Joe Young have? Why is even his brother so respectful to him? He truly is a mysterious man. Hank Roy looked at you with a poker face and said word by word. Your skillful operation is truly smooth, brother. You command your men to continue. Immediately, they understood your intention and asked the young master to hurry back and inherit the family property with you. His biggest mistake in his life was getting involved with this flirtatious person. Switching lives, just look at his flirtatious behavior. Who knows what he did with his own body? Damn it, should have added more restrictions when signing the agreement at the club. Hank Roy's mouth twitched. He quickly rolled away. Okay, young master, you rolled out directly with everyone crawling and rolling. It was so much fun. This time you really had a blast. Everyone gasped in shock. Joe Young is so bold to talk to Hank Roy like that. Hank Roy didn't even dare to say a word and left sneakily. Joe Young is really impressive. You're sneaky, being pretentious at school, and then attending a party with the secretary that evening. Director Roy, you are late. Director Roy, you still have your charisma. Many people are greeting you. You respond calmly with a faint smile on your lips, steady as ever. Director Roy, look over there, that's Lao Nick, the chairman of Binhai City International. You seem surprised, it's quite a coincidence. Welcome everyone to today's charity gala. Without further ado, let's begin with the charity gala. With the initiator of the dinner taking the lead, the charity gala donations have begun. My company, Hofa Group, donates 10 million. Hack Company donates 3 million. Penguin Group donates 15 million. Everyone is donating one after another. Most donations are around 4 million to 5 million, with the highest not exceeding 15 million. You are also immediately starting to be pretentious, pretending to represent Young personally and donating 30 million. Then you are using Hank Roy's money to help yourself be pretentious, spending money that is not yours without any pressure. Suddenly, everyone looked at you. At this moment, your inner self is already feeling awesome, especially for a poor person like you. This is really exhilarating for you. Who exactly is this Joe Young? I heard that Hank Roy went to see him at school during the day. Calling him young master. Is he some rich kid pretending to be poor, like the story of a sheep in wolf's clothing? Now it's time to clear the air. When Hank Roy saw a donation of 30 million made in the name of Joe Young, everyone started whispering. This is the highest donation received tonight. I thank Director Mr. Joe Roy on behalf of the children in the mountainous areas. Please convey to Mr. Joe that if convenient, I would like to invite him for a meal to express my gratitude in person. Chun Long is the founder of Hailong Group, over 50 years old, and has a prominent position in the business community of Binhai City. Other people hearing these words would quietly curse and call him an old fox. What does it mean to invite Joe Young for a meal to express thanks in person? Isn't it just to seize this opportunity to make friends with the other party? After all, everyone now realizes that Joe Young's identity is not simple at all. The more ordinary his surface information appears, the deeper it indicates he is hiding. It's already so deep that they can't figure it out. Hank Roy went from being a nobody to becoming the chairman of Joy Hank Group in just a few short years. It must be that someone was supporting him from behind. Otherwise, Hank Roy couldn't have developed so quickly and smoothly unless he was cheating. That's why everyone wants to get to know you now. The only way, of course, is through Hank Roy. After all, they wouldn't dare disturb you randomly, in case it backfires and offends you. You looked at Chun Long and chuckled. No need to eat. For Mr. Joe, this is just some pocket money. Just help as much as you can within your capabilities, and he doesn't like to be disturbed much either. Actually, you just want to be pretentious and don't really want to take responsibility. At this moment, Lao Nick also came forward with a bright and friendly smile on his face. Director Roy, I think we can discuss more about the previous project. What else is there to talk about? Didn't you already hand it over to Chunho Trading Company? You said indifferently, deliberately showing a touch of disdain. Director Roy, you misunderstood. We haven't signed any contract with Chunho Trading Company yet. I've thought about it, and I believe Joy Hank Group is more trustworthy. I won't bring up the price, you sneaky one. You pretended to be indifferent about it at the time. Director Roy, when you say this, you are disrespecting me, Lao Nick. Binhai City International doesn't lack that 30 million. The 6 billion project, Joy Hank Group will take it and sign the contract tomorrow. You thought that saving 30 million is the same as earning 30 million, which is quite stable. You didn't realize that you were being pretentious and unexpectedly turned the cooperation with Binhai City International into an opportunity. Inadvertently, you have been pretentious again in a large way. Boss Lao has reached an agreement with Chunho Trading Company. The signing ceremony is about to take place soon. Now suddenly a change of heart. Isn't this making Chunho Trading Company prepare for the signing ceremony in vain? You are frowning as if you are considering Chunho Trading Company. Lao Nick was dumbfounded at that time, never expecting that you would be so good at this game. What I mean is, you shamelessly said, let's not spoil the contract signing ceremony that Chunho Trading Company has prepared meticulously. So, do not disclose this news for now. We will sign the contract at the original signing ceremony with Chunho Trading Company and Binhai City International. Lao Nick suddenly took a deep breath, feeling as if his heart had been pierced. You saw Lao Nick without saying a word and immediately asked, is Boss Lao in trouble? Lao Nick then realized and said, no problem. Just follow the instructions given by Director Roy. You raised your glass and said, a pleasant cooperation. Lao Nick also said, a pleasant cooperation. Snowy Tzu watched the whole process with a bewildered and admiring look on their face as they looked at you. Director Roy is really amazing. With just a few words he can change the situation. Snowy Tzu immediately thought that Director Roy was so capable. Wouldn't Joe Young, whom he relies on, be even more formidable? Later, the secretary invited you to discuss the mysteries of life. You had a serious discussion all night long, and it must be said that both of you were truly sincere. You little flirt gave Snowy Tsu's cheek a poke. It's time to get to work. Snowy Tsu, half asleep, said, Director Roy, you're so capable, I still want more. I've read yesterday's information. Help me make an appointment with Cho Pin. Snowy Tsu held you gently and whispered in your ear, You closed such a big deal yesterday. You're so capable, big brother. Are you planning to confront Halman too? It feels great to please you so much. Acting pretentiously is satisfying, and even getting the beauty back directly makes you feel awesome. But fortunately, in your memory, it seems that Hank Roy doesn't have a wife or girlfriend. Otherwise, he would have been in big trouble with his situation. At this moment, Hal Min is drinking heavily with his nephew Cho Pin. Damn it, that bastard Hank Roy better not fall into my hands. Hal Min grits his teeth. At this time, Cho Pin said, Brother-in-law will attend the signing ceremony with Binhai City International the day after tomorrow. I specially invited Hank Roy to come and watch. When the time comes, you will go on stage to represent our Chunho Trading Company to sign with Binhai City International. Isn't it wonderful? Hank Roy's head must be hurting. You will have avenged yourself, right? Hal Min's eyes gradually brightened. He could already imagine Hank Roy's incredulous expression. He would take the opportunity to humiliate him. It will be a triumphant moment of redemption. All right, that's how it's gonna be. Hank Roy, oh Hank Roy, you just wait to embarrass yourself. At 9:30 a.m. in Binhai City University, the senior students of the Finance Department Class 3 are having a class. OMG, Joe is so generous. Joe donated 30 million renminbi without saying a word. He is really generous. I unilaterally declare that you are my half-brother. The classroom immediately erupted in excitement. Joe is amazing. He did such a big thing without any publicity. Who did Joe Young donate 30 million to? Even Hank Roy looked confused. Hank Roy was like, Damn it, Joe Young, this old dog is tricking me again. You guys probably don't know that Joe was at a charity gala last night and had Hank Roy, the chairman of Joy Hank Group, donate a whopping 30 million to impoverished mountain areas. A whole 30 million. Today, he didn't even mention it. That's what you call low-key with substance. OMG, Joe Young is awesome. He did such a great thing without any publicity. This is truly doing good deeds for the sake of it. He's not seeking the limelight. I declare that Joe is my idol from now on. The classroom is already in complete chaos. Even the old professor admires and looks at Joe Young appreciatively. Joe Young, your classmates would like you to say a few words about your good deed. Hank Roy's mouth twitched, and he had an awkward yet polite smile on his face. It's just something I should do and not worth mentioning, he said. 30 million, exactly 30 million. His largest donation was only 7 million. Joe Young donated 30 million in one go. This made Hank Roy so angry that he immediately started cursing 1,000 times. You're really generous, using my money to boost your reputation, you bastard Joe Young. Hank Roy was so angry that he kept cursing at you. Did you all see it? How noble is Joe Young's character, and how kind is his heart. Let's give a round of applause for the esteemed professor who admires it all. Thunderous applause erupted in the classroom. The more they praised Hank Roy, the more he felt like crying because they weren't praising him. In his heart, he cursed Joe Young's ancestors for generations. He had been a member of the club for so many years, he had never encountered such a despicable person playing tricks like this. Soon, the news of Joe Young donating 30 million to impoverished mountain areas spread throughout Binhai City University. Cherry Roy was even more moved after hearing this. Joe Young was truly kind and much more generous than her brother. Her brother had only donated a maximum of 7 million, and it took her a lot of persuasion to increase the donation. At this moment, you are playing with the secretary. Suddenly, you sneezed several times. Achoo, achoo. You took the tissue handed to you by Snowy-Tsu and wiped your nose. It must be that jerk cursing at me. You would never have thought it was Hank Roy praising you like crazy. Snowy-Tsu anxiously said, Did I accidentally expose you to the cold last night by lifting the blanket? You shook your head and said, It's not that. It's probably another pretty lady thinking of me again. Snowy-Tsu pouted and said, Director Roy, it's annoying that you said such things in front of me. You directly pushed her away when she was acting all flirty all day. Bring some positive energy, pull up your pants and speak with authority. pout at the unfairness to Snowy Sue. Such a fickle man, you didn't say that last night. Ring ring. The internal phone on the office desk is ringing. Snowy Sue quickly walked over to answer the call. After a moment, he said to you, Director Roy, Cho Pin asked him to come up. You should go out first. Okay, Director Roy. About 2 minutes later, a young man walked in. The young man, who looked to be around 27 or 28 years old, was wearing a flashy orange suit. He seemed like a casual wanderer. This person is none other than Cho Pin, Hao Min's young uncle. Director Roy, we don't have any dealings, so I'm not sure why you're looking for me. Please gesture for him to sit down. We don't have any dealings, but I do have dealings with your brother-in-law. You hold shares of Chunho Trading Company on behalf of Hao Min, right? Do you want to take possession of them? Holding shares is just holding shares. Have you ever thought about what will happen to the shares if he's not around? Later, you deceived Cho Pin with sweet words. You also recorded the whole thing just now. You sneaky one, you have a whole series of tricks up your sleeve. This move can be described as killing 3 birds with 1 stone. Tomorrow, at the signing ceremony between Chunho Trading Company and Binhai City International, a big surprise will be given to Hao Min. I hope he will like it and be touched. After all, you have put a lot of effort into this. You've never been so attentive to a woman, because you always prefer to use your kidneys on women. Cho Pin had just left when Snowy Sue rushed in with a panicked expression on his face. With a worried look in his eyes, Director Roy said, It's not good. The scene of us entering the hotel room together last night was captured and posted online. You appear indifferent to being exposed online, but what does it matter if those average men only know how to randomly type on their keyboards and envy themselves for being able to sleep with Snowy Sue, a top-quality beauty? It's surprising that Snowy Sue is so nervous. Could it be because she's afraid her husband will see it? You couldn't help but wonder for a moment. You even generously took time off from work and paid for it yourself to have a work-related discussion in a hotel room with a female subordinate. Is there anything wrong with you working so hard for the company? Snowy Sue cried and looked miserable when Mr. Roy, the director, used the excuse of being really good at something. But will your wife believe it? At that time, it confused you. Wife? Whose wife? Of course, it's your wife. What do you mean my wife? In an instant, there are 10,000 FXXK sentences. WTF, Hank Roy has already gotten married? You had a bad feeling at the time. The reason why there is no relevant information in the memories you received is not because Hank Roy is single, but because he concealed the relevant memories when signing the agreement. Come to think of it, if it were me, I would also hide related memories, set restrictions, and send my wife far away to avoid trouble. Then didn't I set Hank Roy up for disaster and so on? Since it's Hank Roy who's being set up, why worry? Anyway, by the time his wife comes back and the exchange period ends, I would have left already. When he gets beaten up later, it will be Hank Roy getting beaten up, right? After realizing this, you became calm and composed again. Educate Snowy Sue not to panic over trivial matters. Stay calm when things happen. Have someone continue the music and dance. Roy, what should I do? Madam definitely won't let me go. Snowy Sue's eyes were filled with tears. Luckily you were prepared early and helped her up with a laugh. Don't say I didn't support you. I have already recommended you to Master Zhao. In a few days, you will go to him and await his orders. You, this despicable person, not only slept with Hank Roy's top secretary, but also want to steal her away. Moreover, you even sent her to yourself in the name of Hank Roy. Achieving a true double whoring, this trick is really shameless. Of course, you don't think you are stealing Hank Roy's woman, but saving Hank Roy by not sending Snowy Sue away. Are you waiting for Hank Roy's wife to come back? Would he spare him then? Snowy Sue was shocked and delighted to hear Hank Roy recommending her to Jo Young. She was delighted that she could connect with Jo Young, as she admires strong individuals. Of course, she is curious and eager to know more about Jo Young, who is stronger than Hank Roy. She was shocked that Hank Roy would actually give her away. It's terrifying. Could it be that Hank Roy has a special preference for handing himself a green hat? At this time, your phone suddenly rang. Snowy Sue's expression changed instantly when she saw the caller ID. It was Director Roy's wife calling. Don't panic. You remained very calm and composed as you picked up the phone and answered. Hello, what's the matter? What's the matter? Okay, surname Chen. Do you still have the face to ask me? No wonder you always drive me away after a while. You even said it's good for my physical and mental health to travel abroad frequently. Now I finally understand. You're driving me away to mess around. You've driven me away so many times. How many women do you actually have? Are you cursing nonstop like a machine gun? Snowy Sue heard everything even without the speaker on. Of course, you won't be intimidated in front of Snowy Sue. Calmly say, Are you done talking? If you're done, I'll hang up. I'm at a meeting. If you're not done, come back in a few days and say it to my face. Don't delay my work. You think it's very necessary to help Hank Roy restore his authority. You can't always indulge women. When the exchange is over and Hank Roy sees his wife again, he will surely silently thank himself. Okay, Hank Roy is almost going crazy on the other end, but you hang up the phone before she can finish. Such a clueless woman. You made Snowy Sue gape in astonishment with your leaky domineering attitude. She can't believe that Director Roy, who is usually henpecked, has become so formidable. After you became a lifetime member of the Life Exchange Club, the first thing I did was to exchange bodies with billionaire CEO Hank Roy. Hank Roy really didn't expect anyone to be so shameless. Hank Roy's secretary and Hank Roy's sister have all been approached by you. Even Hank Roy's wife almost suffered at your hands. Using Hank Roy's body to pretend to be someone else is simply disrespectful. Just yesterday you, as a henpecked husband, actually scolded your wife severely. Quite sharp. Even your secretary looks at you with new eyes. After a busy day, you return to Hank Roy's home. Sitting on Hank Roy's sofa, drinking Hank Roy's tea. At this moment, Cherry Roy walked over and sat down next to you. Cherry Roy chuckled and said, Bro, tell me more about Joe Young, I beg you. Cherry Roy at home is completely different from the iceberg goddess at school. It's like two different faces, very naive. The key is that you, sneaky one, are involved with Joe Young again. It seems like you're going to be in trouble. This time, Hank Roy is the big loser. Hank Roy really suffered a big loss this time. You won't like him, will you? You asked directly without any mercy. Cherry Roy blushed and looked at you embarrassedly. Bro, what are you thinking? How could I like a little brat? I just want to understand my students more, that's all. Your heart trembles sharply. Can't believe Cherry Roy has fallen for you. Hank Roy personally helped me pursue his sister. This is too much. Thank you so much, Uncle Hank. Are you going to talk about it or not? Seriously, what nonsense are you talking about teaching Cherry Roy how to pursue herself? I only know that he is 185 centimeters tall, weighs 80 kilograms, and has a length of 22 centimeters. This length is for reference only. Tofu Pudding likes to eat sweet things and loves Lamborghini cars. Oh, his favorite color is black, especially black stockings. Cherry Roy looked at you in disbelief and said that you don't know much at all. With a length of 22 centimeters, Cherry Roy blushed. Joe Young's strengths are indeed quite obvious and likable. That's all I have to say to you. You must strive to pursue him. I only recognize him as your brother-in-law. No one else is worthy of you. You shamelessly instructed. Cherry Roy blushed and nodded. You suddenly remembered something important. Why didn't I find your sister-in-law's clothes and toiletries in my room? If I had found these things earlier, I could have confirmed that Hank Roy does have a wife, and naturally wouldn't have been so reckless as to share a room with Snowy Sue. Bro, are you confused? Cherry Roy looked at you in surprise. You had a quarrel with your sister-in-law before, and she was so angry that she moved back to her mother's house. You flew over to apologize and ask her to come back home, but she didn't even pay attention to you. Why have you been so quiet these days? At that time you were silent. You even thought Hank Roy's wife was taken by him to travel. Unexpectedly, this time she was driven away in anger. To be able to anger Hank Roy, who was henpecked, it seemed she was really very angry. Now you have also discovered the matter of Hank Roy booking a room with Snowy Sue, too scared to imagine. Dear elder brother, take care of yourself. You immediately thought it over and decided to sleep, believing that things will be better tomorrow. The contract signing ceremony for the 6 billion project. You bring Snowy Sue to find a seat. The signing ceremony starts at 9 o'clock. Next, let's give a round of applause and invite Mr. Hao Min, the chairman of Chunho Trading Company. Help us say a few words. Isn't this Director Hao from Joy Hank Group? How did he become the chairman of Chunho Trading Company? What's going on here? It seems like there's more to this project. The venue was buzzing with discussions for a while. Hao Min's gaze fell on Joe Young, who had a blank expression on his face. A faint smirk played at his lips, still pretending to be calm? Quite resilient. You've worked hard on the project for so long, but now it has fallen into my hands. You must feel terrible. Yet you can only act as if nothing happened, truly pitiful. Hao Min felt he had seen through everything. Many of you may know me. I used to serve as the vice chairman of Joy Hank Group. As for why I became the chairman of Chunho Trading Company, Hao Min smiled intriguingly. Then he waved his hand and said, I don't want to mention the details. After all, today is the auspicious occasion of signing the contract between Chunho Trading Company and Binhai City International. So I don't want to bring up unrelated and unpleasant matters. After Hao Min finished speaking, his gaze fell on the chairman of Binhai City International, Lao Nick. Next, let us welcome Director Lao. Lao Nick chuckled and cleared his throat while holding the microphone. Joy Hank Group is a powerful company. Director Roy of Joy Hank Group is not only talented but also has a good personality. I am very honored to be able to cooperate with Joy Hank Group. Everyone was stunned as soon as he spoke. What's going on today? Weren't we supposed to sign the contract with Chunho Trading Company? What's the relationship with Joy Hank Group? Could it be that Director Lao remembered the lines incorrectly? It's okay if that's the case. Just afraid it's not the case, then we'll have a show to watch today. Hao Min quietly reminded Director Lao that it's wrong. It's not Joy Hank Group, it's Chunho Trading Company. I will say it again. Our Binhai City International has chosen to collaborate with Joy Hank Group. I said this into the microphone, so the whole audience could hear. Hao Min's ears are full of the sounds of the venue. OMG, this is so exciting. Binhai City International made a last-minute change. It's not a last-minute change at all. Clearly, it was planned in advance. That's why Director Roy is as steady as a rock. Director Roy's move of removing the firewood from under the pot was brilliant. He quietly completed the move. Director Roy really controls the whole scene. You're laughing like a dog and still trying to act pretentious. Don't look at me like that. This is all thanks to Master Zhao's guidance. I can't imagine. Even Snowy Sue burst out laughing like a goose. Hao Min's eyes widened in anger, almost on the verge of collapsing. Director Lao of Chunho Trading Company had already discussed it with you all. Will you have any credibility if you back out now? Director Hao, we only had a verbal agreement. We have to be cautious when dealing with billions of business. There may be a chance to collaborate again. Lao Nick remained calm. Next, let's invite our Director Roy to say a few words for us. Then you danced ballet on stage, which was quite enjoyable. It was extremely enjoyable. With one hand holding the microphone, you pointed to Hao Min Joy Hank Group's director, who also serves as the vice chairman. However, he embezzled funds multiple times by abusing his authority and misappropriating company assets. He also leaked company secrets. This move is truly a model of deception for us. Also, thank you to Director Hal for sponsoring the venue. My respect for Director Hal is like the continuous flow of a river. Nonsense, blood-mouthed accusations. Do you have any evidence? Without evidence, I can sue you for defamation at any time. He is defaming me. I can testify. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound, and saw Cho Pin stepping onto the stage step by step. Brother-in-law, stop pretending. I have already submitted all the evidence to the relevant departments. Come with us, Hao Min. You are suspected of committing official crimes. Please cooperate with our work. You ungrateful and deceitful backstabber. If it wasn't for me, you'd still be farming now. You actually sold me out, Hao Min yelled in an emotional and hysterical outburst. Brother-in-law, I'm doing this for your own good. I can't stand seeing you continue to make mistakes. I can't bear it. Don't worry about being in jail. The company and your sister have me to take care of you. Didn't expect this guy to be quite the actor too. At this moment, you still don't forget to praise yourself. Master Zhao, you are truly amazing. Your strategies are so clever and terrifying. This series of actions has directly stunned everyone. They all witnessed the terror of Zhou Yung, your wrist. Xiao Gongzi, also known as Zhou Yung, although he is not in the martial arts world anymore, his legend is now everywhere in the martial arts world. Be Pretentious has also completed his task. There's no need for you to stay here anymore. Everyone, eat as much as you want. Today, Xiao Gongzi will foot the bill for everyone. You must be really happy about gaining both fame and fortune. That evening in the reception room of Chunho Trading Company. You little rascal, you're starting to deceive people again, emphasizing the need for stability. With a smile on your lips, you looked at Cho Pin opposite you with interest. Director Roy, our cooperation has ended. What exactly do you want to discuss with me? You suddenly smiled and took out a tablet from your pocket. You played a surveillance video. In the video was the day you met with Cho Pin in the office, instigating him to betray Hao Min. Cho Pin's face changed when he saw the video content. What do you mean by this? You start performing directly. What do you mean? Cho Pin, do you think if your sister sees this video, you can still get your hands on Chunho Trading Company's shares? Don't talk about being a director at Cho. I'm afraid you will turn into a suspect. From now on, Cho can only rely on stealing electric bikes to live. Cho Pin immediately thought of it at that time. His only reliance was his sister's unconditional trust in him. He could use this to deceive his sister into transferring the shares to his name. After all, his sister definitely wouldn't understand these matters. Otherwise, Hao Min wouldn't have asked him to hold these shares on behalf, and he wouldn't have the confidence to deceive his sister. But once Cho Pin's sister sees the video that Zhou Yung has, he will lose that trust. Not to mention the shares of Chunho Trading Company, he won't get a penny. That's why Cho Pin is now so afraid that all his efforts will be in vain. What do you want? Cho Pin asked through gritted teeth. From the moment he saw the video, he knew he had been calculated by the other party a long time ago. You smirked slightly. What? Do you think there is something on you that I need? Do you want to give Xiao Gongzi the shares of Chunho Trading Company or not? You have completely ruined Hank Roy's face. Wait until you get back all your great achievements. It would probably make Hank Roy go crazy. You always appear very calm. You have two choices. The first is to cooperate with me. You will gain the friendship of Xiao Gongzi and me, as well as some money. The second is to not cooperate with me. Then your sister will see this video. By then, forget about the shares of Chunho Trading Company. Everything you have now will be taken back by your sister. You will also lose a family relationship. Actually, deep down, you are far from as calm as you appear on the surface. Your heart is also in a panic, because you have never done such things before. If the operation is successful, you will see a sharp increase in your net worth by tens of billions. You used to be just an ordinary student, and now you have to engage in big strategies. It is absolutely impossible to say that you are not panicking inside. Anyway, Chunho Trading Company was also acquired by Hao Min through improper means. It's an opportunity to get ill-gotten gains. Don't want to miss it. Take a chance to upgrade from a bicycle to a motorcycle. Cho Pin could only choose the first option helplessly. Okay, I promise you. Cho Pin feels emotionally drained. The routines in the big city are too complicated. He really wants to go back to the countryside to farm. It's a wise choice. I have prepared a contract. Let your sister sign it. I believe you can handle it. Then you toss out a bank card. There are 10 million inside. The password is the last 6 digits of the card number. Aren't you afraid that I will take the money and run? Cho Pin seems a bit puzzled when you hand him the money like this. You lightly laughed and said, I have mentioned that it's not me who wants it. It's Chunho Trading Company. Jo Young Zhao Gongzi wants it. You can go and inquire about how those wealthy people in Binhai City treat Zhao Gongzi. Who dares to take the money and not get things done? What do you think your outcome will be? Am I afraid you will run away? You are quite skillful at pretending, very stable. Cho Pin shuddered. The name Jo Young has been frequently heard recently, mysterious background and influential connections. He once supported Hank Roy's Joy Hank Group with a strong grip. In reality, you are just a poor average man. You are really proficient. Even a billionaire CEO was played by you until he cried without tears. The time for you to exchange bodies with the billion-dollar CEO Hank Roy has ended. You enjoyed it to the extreme. Hank Roy, on the other hand, is not so lucky. He just called his wife hoping to be intimate. He got scolded and ended up feeling completely baffled. Hank Roy immediately thought it must have been the work of a sneaky one like you. Your days are numbered. You just took care of Cho Pin and then went to take over Chunho Trading Company with your secretary. Because there isn't much time left for you to be pretentious. You and Hank Roy have a week to make the deal, and today is already the 6th day. You have one more day until the body swap ends. You solemnly begin to deceive Snowy Tsu. From today you are Zhao Gongzi's person. Chunho Trading Company will be fully responsible by you in the future, so you must work hard. Make sure all the work is well arranged and done properly. Don't let down the cultivation Zhao Gongzi has given you. Snowy Tsu immediately thought that he couldn't stay here with Director Roy anymore. Zhao Gongzi is so impressive and values me so much. Not to mention 996, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week, even 69 is not impossible. After arranging everything, you arrived at the meeting room of Chunho Trading Company with your secretary. The crowd also looked puzzled when they saw you. At this moment, a middle-aged man solemnly said, Hank Roy, what are you doing here? I'm very busy today, and it's inconvenient to entertain guests. You immediately replied, Don't worry, you won't be this busy in the future. Then you asked your secretary to bring out the contract. I have a transfer agreement in my hand. Ms. Cho has officially transferred her shares of Chunho Trading Company to Mr. Jo Young. The meeting room exploded in an instant. Your words were like thunder, shocking everyone. Nobody expected that Ms. Cho Rose's shares were quietly taken by Mr. Jo Young. Then, everyone became excited at the thought of the mysterious Mr. Zhao becoming the new boss. The future of Chunho Trading Company is bound to be better and promising. Only one person is unhappy. That person is Sir Lance. He looked at Hank Roy in disbelief, his mind buzzing. He originally thought that with Hao Min in prison, Chunho Trading Company would be his. But unexpectedly someone else showed up. You can pack up and leave now, you said calmly. From now on, Snowy Tsu is the new chairman and general manager of Chunho Trading Company. Everyone clapped enthusiastically, welcoming her with warmth. Look at Snowy Tsu's faint smile. I'm leaving it to you to handle things here well. Master Zhao will summon you in a few days. Perform well, and don't embarrass me. Then, you left and handed the stage over to her. Just as I stepped out, my phone started ringing. The caller ID showed it was my wife. You immediately began to act. Hello, what's the matter? I'll be arriving in 3 days at 3 p.m. Don't say I didn't give you a chance to explain yourself. When I get off the plane, I want to see you apologize to me. Apologize and explain? What a joke. You interrupted her. Haha, I, Hank Roy, live my life without the need to explain to others. Then hang up and block. How can a man bow down to a woman and apologize? Big brother, I can only help you so much. From here on, it's up to you, bro. I can only help you with this. Your first life exchange is complete. Director Roy, long time no see, Hank. Roy gritted his teeth and said, "Joe Young, you bastard. What do you mean long time no see? This time I was careless and didn't expect you to be so shameless." "You are too kind with your slight smile. When I was working part-time during the summer vacation, I was at a doll factory. Back then, I was specifically in charge of being pretentious. Even the factory manager praised me for doing a good job." Hank Roy is speechless. Get lost. I have never seen such a shameless bastard like you. Later, Hank Roy plans to see what gains he has made during this time. After all, he helped you gain insights into his own sister. You quickly followed, although you felt you didn't gain any points. But this doesn't stop you from broadening your horizons. You are curious about the Points Mall and have been wanting to check it out for a while. Upon entering the second floor, you are amazed. The second floor is as big as the first floor, resembling a plaza. In the plaza, there are many floating light screens displaying a variety of goods, dazzling the eyes. Unlimited bullet handgun for 30 points. Memory erasing card for 50 points. Resurrection card for 1,000 points. Mind reading skill for 100 points. Advanced doll for 1,000 points. And so on. Treasures of all kinds are available. From small items like a candy to various skills and props, as well as martial arts cheats, everything is available. Looks like you're astonished, but you have no relationship with these treasures. As a newcomer with no points, just stand aside and watch. Then Hank Roy walked up to a floating light screen and said, "Inquire about the details of the point settlement." Then rows of characters began to appear. Member named Hank Roy completed a life difficulty for someone else in a recent exchange by going to the counselor's office. With solid financial knowledge, he became a campus celebrity that professors actively sought advice from, successfully helping the other party shine brighter in life. He received 5 points, making his total balance 9 points. A slight smile appeared on Hank Roy's face. Getting 5 points so easily was already quite good. At this time, you asked in confusion, "Can any light screen work?" Hank Roy, now in a very happy mood, patiently explained, "Yes, any light screen will do. You can give it a try, even though you won't earn any points." When Hank Roy saw your panel, his smile froze instantly. His mouth grew wide open. He stared at your data with a puzzled expression, looking as if he had seen a ghost. Member named Joe Young helped the other party solve the following life challenges in a recent exchange, successfully facilitate cooperation between Benhai City International and Joy Hank Group, root out the mole within the company, and make the other party's life more brilliant. A total of 10 points were earned, with a remaining balance of 10 points. Hank Roy was furious at the time. "How the hell did you do it? You're just a newcomer, an ordinary college student. I had to work my asterisk off back then to achieve even a little bit. I don't know. I just did it normally, like this and like that. Is this really a hard problem in your life? But can this be considered a difficult problem? Can't you just do it if you have hands?" A familiar background music started to play. You immediately acted calmly without any panic. "Are you fucking kidding me? Are you a genius, Hank Roy?" He was stunned at that moment. "Isn't it just 10 points? Why make such a fuss? Show some class. Brother, he is a newcomer." "What's wrong with being a newcomer? Newcomers can be so intense." Just scolded Hank Roy and Joe Young. The middle-aged man jumped up, his voice even louder. Others were all astonished. They looked at you in amazement and exploded with astonishment. "I remember he just joined last week. How the hell did he do that?" Yeah, these two difficult questions seem to be about power struggle, not easy at all. He's a newcomer. How did he manage it without any props? Damn, his basic information shows that he is a student. Are all students nowadays so amazing? Soon everyone knew that a very talented newcomer had arrived at the club. Faced with everyone's praise and admiration, you smiled and said it was just basic skills, nothing to be surprised about. You looked very pleased. It was so beautiful, and you inadvertently showed off again. But at this point, you were also stunned. What can you buy with 10 points? There are quite a few things you can buy. Oh, a soft voice entered your ears. When you turned your head, you saw the beautiful and charming manager Susu. Miss Susu, how come you're here? I heard that there is a very talented newcomer, so I came to take a look. I didn't expect it to be you. Is there anything I can help with? Then you told Susu that you would like to learn more about the club. Susu smiled, turned around, and led the way to help introduce you. The first floor is the exchange hall. The second floor is the points mall. The third floor is the restaurant area. The fourth floor is the entertainment and leisure area. The fifth floor is the accommodation area. The sixth and seventh floors are our staff's territory and members are not allowed to go there. If there are items in the points mall that you cannot afford to buy in full, you can choose to rent them. If you cannot find what you want to buy, you can tell the staff on the second floor. They will help you find it. That's about it. Later, you spent 5 points to buy a basic body strengthening potion and save the remaining 5 points for future use. At this time, Hank Roy is not so lucky. He took out his phone to call his wife back. After all, it had been so long, and his wife's anger should have subsided by now. The number? Could it have been deleted by Joe Young? When scrolling through the contacts, Hank Roy couldn't find his wife's number and felt a little confused. Hank Roy certainly wouldn't have expected that it was a sneaky one like you helping him regain his authority. Although he didn't find the number, Hank Roy remembers it in his mind. Dialed the number directly and made the call. Listening to the busy tone, a happy smile appeared on Hank Roy's face. His wife must miss him a lot too, right? His wife does indeed miss him a lot, longing for him vividly. The phone connected to Hank Roy, and he had just started speaking. His wife interrupted him angrily. Hank Roy, didn't you block me? You have guts to call me now. Wait for me to come home tomorrow. I will settle the score with you and your mistress. Hank Roy was left dumbfounded, holding his phone, as he listened to the call being hung up, almost scaring his soul out of him. It took him a while to regain his composure, and at that moment he thought of the number must have been blocked by that bastard. He realized the seriousness of the situation, and quickly took out his phone and made another call. Wife, listen to me, let me explain, it's all a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding my ass. Go to hell. Now you're scared, huh? It's too late. Weren't you arrogant? Take back your Hank Roy way of life. No need to explain to others. Why explain now? You're doomed. Hank Roy is confused and frustrated. Joe Young, what the hell did you do with my body? I have nothing to do with you. You can really act like nothing affects you, pretending to be calm. You talk about hidden family secrets, and how you can't own property before you are 20. When it comes to nonsense, you are really skilled. In class, you dare to flirt with even the teachers and act extremely pretentious. The billionaire CEO Hank Roy was really ruined by you. The thing he regrets the most is swapping bodies with you, a sneaky one. You even directly blocked his wife's phone number. Hank Roy immediately thought it was you, that sneaky one, who did it. He immediately got angry and cursed you with a set of dirty words. What the hell did you do with my body? Bro, what are you yelling about in the middle of the night? Cherry, tell me, did your brother do anything to make your sister-in-law angry these days? No, Cherry shook his head. When Hank Roy breathed a sigh of relief. What you did isn't worth getting angry over, but you did it. It might lead her to kill you. Do you want to listen? You might die. Hank Roy's heart, which had just calmed down, suddenly brought up the noise in his eyes again. The voice was trembling. What did I do? Tell me. Did you forget? The photos of you taking your secretary to a hotel room have been posted online. Sister-in-law must have seen them. When I reminded you the other day, weren't you calm? Cherry Roy gave a terrifying look, which scared Hank Roy to shiver. Hank Roy was stunned and said, WTF, I'm really doomed now. That bastard Joe Young. Joe Young, expletive you. Brother, it's your own problem that you can't control yourself. What does this have to do with Joe Young? Cherry Roy is unhappy when she hears him swearing at you. Hank Roy definitely didn't expect that he helped you pursue his sister. Hank Roy was speechless instantly. He is such a deceitful person. The #1 trickster in the universe. Anyone who teams up with him in a game will have bad luck for 8 lifetimes. Brother, you said he was outstanding before. Now you want me to pursue him and recognize him as the only brother-in-law? Cherry Roy became shy immediately. Hank Roy was instantly filled with anger. Where is my knife? Where is my 80-meter long chopping knife? If I can't live, I'll make someone accompany me in death. That dog named Joe, using my body to instigate my sister to pursue you. Is this something a human can do? I will fight him to the death. When this was said, Cherry Roy was infuriated. Brother, weren't you relying on Joe Young to get to where you are today? How shameless of you. She must never have thought that her brother achieved everything with external help. Hank Roy also had grievances, but could only express his anger powerlessly. You have just come out of the system at this time. You checked your phone and realized the time. It seems like you might be late. Today is Teacher Cherry's class. At this moment, your troublesome friends are also late. They are now being criticized by Cherry Roy, feeling quite satisfying. Why is it just the 3 of you, Joe Young? This buddy decided to let you take the blame, saying you were taking a dump in the small forest. Cherry Roy coldly snorted. Nonsense! How could Joe Young possibly do such a thing? You stand for 1 class as punishment. What are you two mumbling about over there? You both also have to stand as punishment. Cherry Roy got angry right away. You are late every day. Look at yourselves. Are you respecting the hard-earned tuition money your parents pay? Do you really think going to college is just for fun? At that moment, you walked over with an indifferent attitude, as if you didn't recognize anybody. Just be pretentious. Why don't you go inside? The 3 of them directly start a crazy output of mockery. You sneaky one must be in trouble too. Still being pretentious over there. Joe Young, why are you late? You are very honest too, just said you overslept. Cherry Roy directly helped you excuse yourself. It must be because you stayed up late reading too late. You must pay attention to balancing work and rest. Don't wear yourself out. Come in. It's all thanks to your uncle's influence. Roommates were stunned by their direct attitude. What the hell is this operation? This is too hypocritical, right? The 3 of them stared in amazement as their brains buzzed at the scene. Your phone rang at the moment you walked into the classroom. You see the note that it was your dear little secretary calling. It must be something important for your dear little secretary to call you, you hurriedly answered. Before Snowy Sue could speak, you interrupted her. After all, there was someone else watching nearby. If they found out, there would be no chance. Rest assured, I will go back to the new company for an inspection tomorrow. Wait until we meet, hang up immediately and very steadily. At this time, a big brother couldn't accept it and directly shouted, You are playing with your phone in class! But what this big brother didn't expect was that Cherry Roy protected Joe Young like this. Practice is the sole criterion for testing truth. Students should learn from Joe Young's example and put their knowledge into practice. Directly left this big brother dumbfounded. You are also bold to directly start teasing Teacher Cherry. You really have won my heart. I still have some management issues that I don't understand. Are you free tonight, teacher? Cherry Roy's face turned red with shyness. Tonight may not work. My brother needs me for something. Don't worry, he will be very busy tonight and won't have time to chat with you. After saying this, you can coolly withdraw. One word, smooth. When it comes to being pretentious, you are really good at it. Your future big brother-in-law Hank Roy also arrived at the company early in the morning. He didn't come to work, he just came to take a look. Did you cause any trouble for the company because of him? Later, Hank Roy had someone call Secretary Sue to the office to meet with him. Because you slept with Snowy Sue, he had to consult with Snowy Sue in advance to coordinate their story in order to coax his wife later. Hank Roy couldn't help but think of you again. You enjoyed yourself, but then I have to come and clean up the mess for you, damn it. At this moment, a strange woman walked in, and Hank Roy was confused immediately. Lena, why are you here? Where is Secretary Tsu? Bring her over. Director Roy, Secretary Tsu is no longer with the company. She also took a group of people with her. Did you approve this? What? Where did they go? I heard Snowy Tsu is also gone. She took a group of people with her. Hank Roy suddenly had a sense of foreboding. Lena was stunned and went to Chunho Trading Company. Wasn't it Mr. Zhao who asked you to help him take down Chunho Trading Company? The initial contract was even drafted by me. Hank Roy directly greeted you. Damn it, you used me to freeload on Chunho Trading Company, that's fine. Taking Snowy Tsu away is fine too, but taking away so many of my key staff members, I won't let you off the hook. Director Roy, you wouldn't really have fallen out with young Master Zhao, would you? You must be careful. Hank Roy, upon hearing this, immediately got angry. You are dismissed. He feels that the biggest tragedy of his life is knowing you, regretting it deeply. Hank Roy definitely would not have expected you to be having the time of your life now. Taking over the Chunho Trading Company group that you fooled and deceived, you will soon become a billionaire as well. Snowy Tsu and her team are waiting for your arrival. When they saw you, everyone was excited and full of joy. After all, you were quite pretentious when you used Hank Roy's body before. Now you are a very prominent figure in Binhai City. Snowy Tsu has made a new makeover to impress you. She now looks more mature and sophisticated, exuding more femininity. Master Zhao, hello, I am Snowy Tsu. Welcome to visit Chunho Trading Company. Let me introduce to you personally. With a perfect smile, Snowy Tsu asks, Master Zhao, do you have any orders? You immediately pretended. You, on behalf of Chunho Trading Company, helped me buy a house and a transportation vehicle. There is a rule in the family that I, who is not yet 20 years old, cannot own any property. The restriction was just lifted a few days ago. This wave of making you be pretentious is unmatched. Anyway, it's all made up. In fact, Chunho Trading Company is currently facing a major crisis. Your official pretentious moment is about to begin. You are enjoying life with a secretary by your side, buying cars and houses. Your big uncle is being baptized by his wife. Yet, you are dating his sister. You are truly ungrateful. Your big uncle must be feeling uncomfortable. At this moment, Hank Roy is waiting for his wife at the airport. It's probably going to be a tense situation. Hank Roy's hand holding the airport pickup sign has gone soft. He has been waiting for several hours. Finally, his eyes lit up and quickly ran towards a tall, slim, beautiful woman with long hair. Wife, let me explain. Explain what? You bastard, fooling around behind my back. Wife, please listen to me. I won't listen, I just won't listen. Aw, don't hit me, I was wrong. Shocked, broad daylight, in front of everyone, Hank Roy was actually publicly abused by his wife. He completely lost his domineering CEO demeanor, and the scene was exceptionally tragic. At this time, you were having a great time dating Hank Roy's sister at a restaurant. Cherry Roy, concerned, asked why you weren't eating. Did you fill up just by drinking some wine? You gave a slight smile and started being pretentious, saying there is a word called scenic beauty that can be considered as food, and there is a saying that with emotions, one can feel full just by drinking water. This made Cherry Roy blush. You are completely being charmed, right? Hurry up and thank your uncle, he helped you win over his sister. Even though he doesn't know anything. Tonight is your first date. Cherry Roy dressed up beautifully, elegant, graceful, noble, and elegant. The dinner ended at 11 o'clock in the evening. Cherry Roy was originally going to drive you back to school. However, you shamelessly used the excuse of Cherry Roy drinking too much to say that you were worried about her, and suggested driving her home first. Even though you are rough, you also understand details. Everyone knows what you want to do, even the love brain does. Cherry Roy didn't feel the same way. Faced with you being so thoughtful, She felt like her heart was melting. Can't wait to get married directly. This is the love brain. It's really captivating. Even if you fart right now, she will think it smells good. After arriving home, Cherry Roy invited you in to sit for a while. You looked at the lights in the living room, shook your head and refused, saying, "Forget it, my brother is home tonight. Don't be afraid of him, my sister-in-law is coming back today. He wouldn't dare to act crazy." Cherry Roy smiled tightly. "You must be scared. If you go in, he will definitely fight with you. If my sister-in-law is back, I can't go in even more." Just then the door opened. Hank Roy, with a swollen nose and bruised face, walked out. It was obvious that he had been a victim of domestic violence. Then he saw you sitting on the steps, a special meeting between brothers. He was particularly excited, and his eyes immediately turned red. "Joe Young, I'm going to strangle you." Hank Roy shouted and rushed up. He just wanted to have a good time and be affectionate with you, with no other intention. You quickly dodged to the side and said, "Big brother Roy, please don't do this, you might hurt yourself." "Stop pretending with me. I am an 8th-degree Taekwondo master, and I can easily deal with you. Do you see the injuries on my face? They are all because of you. I will repay you twice as much on your face." Hank Roy gritted his teeth. Cherry Roy looked anxious, with a hint of anger between her eyebrows. "Brother, please stop messing around. Do you know what Joe Young said to me today? He said that no matter how you treat him, he will forgive you. Why can't you learn from him? Why can't you be more open-minded?" "He will forgive me." Hank Roy pointed at Joe Young with one hand and at himself with the other, staring with widened eyes as he shouted, "Can a person even say such words?" Hank Roy was really upset at that moment. Even though he was thinking, "Joe Young, you morally corrupt guy, you really opened my eyes. You made me suffer so much, yet shamelessly stood on the moral high ground and said you would forgive me." The more Hank Roy thought about it, the angrier he became. "Roy, big brother, listen to my explanation. Your expression is very sincere, but Hank Roy just wants to beat you up right now. Wait until you finish getting hit before you slowly talk to me. Roy, big brother, really don't do this. You might really hurt yourself. Hank Roy doesn't care about that. I must beat you, you old thief." He threw a straight punch. Hank Roy hit you, but he fell back and was dazed. "Bro, are you okay, bro?" Cherry Roy exclaimed. She hurried up and helped Hank Roy. "I told you not to do this, you might really hurt yourself. Why don't you listen to advice?" Hank Roy looked at you with a face full of disbelief. "You're also at the 8th level, you said. At that time, you just said you bought body enhancement drugs and showed an innocent smile." Hank Roy was speechless at the time. "If I am guilty, the law will punish me severely. Why did God send you to torment me?" At this moment, a tall and attractive woman in a nightgown walked out. "What's all the noise about at this late hour? I could hear your screaming as if a pig was being slaughtered while I was taking a bath." When she saw the horrifying scene of Hank Roy, her face changed immediately. She approached and took Hank Roy from Cherry Roy's embrace. "Honey, what happened to you? Who did this to you? Who beat you like this?" Hank Roy was moved lying in his wife's arms, feeling her love. It was such a warm embrace. "Sister-in-law, it was my eldest brother who started it. He was making trouble for no reason. Joe Young has forgiven him already. He still insisted on fighting with Zhao Yin," Cherry Roy explained while pouting. Hank Roy's wife, upon hearing this, the anxiety on her face instantly disappeared. She directly let go, realizing that it was he who acted stupidly and deserved to be beaten. Hank Roy fell heavily to the ground again. He had never been so wronged and felt like crying. "Sister-in-law, this is Joe Young. He has helped my brother a lot. Without him, we wouldn't have the Joy Hank group now." Cherry Roy pointed to Joe Young and introduced. Hank Roy's wife looked at Joe Young in amazement. No wonder her husband suddenly became so powerful in recent years. It turned out that there was someone helping behind the scenes. You modestly said, "Sister-in-law, I just contributed a little. It's mainly Roy Big Brother's credit." Hank Roy became angry at that moment and said, "Would you shut up? It's none of your damn business, Hank Roy grumbled angrily. It should be you who shut up. Look at your treacherous face. His wife glared at him, and then looked at Joe Young. You are the benefactor of our family. Come in and have a seat. It's okay, sister-in-law. I still have some things to do and need to hurry back. You repeatedly refused, looking at the trio who kept laughing and chatting. Hank Roy said indignantly, You should take me to the hospital first. It serves you right for picking a fight yourself. Hank Roy's wife is very beautiful and tough. No wonder Hank Roy is henpecked. Later, you bid farewell to Hank Roy's family. You drove away amid a series of blessings from Hank Roy. When you returned to the school, before you could even take off your clothes, you were suddenly dragged out by Ming Hao, who broke in through the door.